gentlemen, welcome to Real Talk with Saieed Ali. I am your host, Saeed. So viewers, it's been raining days and nights in Trinidad and Tobago. For those in the affected area, we hope you are safe and everything is okay. Remember viewers, do not dive in water. You never know what is at the bottom. So remember that. So as we start off our news tonight, viewers, a 40-year-old Lavantil man was arrested on Wednesday in connection with vandalizing 4 automated teller machines. That's the ATM. The 4 machines were found to be damaged at First Citizen Bank branch on Independence Square in Port of Spain. The estimated cost of the damage is said to be around $33,000. Around 4 a.m., a security officer from Amalgamated Security Service Limited was alerted by a pedestrian to the incident. A report was made to the police, prompting a response from officers of the Port of Spain Criminal Investigation Department. Now, crime scene investigator proceeded to the location and reportedly developed several workable fingerprints. So Trinidad and Tobago, well done by the officers on them. Well done. Moving along. The 6 months contract extension of the Industrial Court's chairman, Lawrence Achong, has drawn criticism from various trade unions who claim that the move undermines trust and fairness in industrial relations. On Wednesday, union members staged a protest outside the Industrial Court building in Port of Spain. Chief Education and Researcher Officer of OWTU, Ozzy Warwick, says this is an issue of judicial impartiality. Listen to this.
What we've seen is a consistent number of judgments coming from higher courts, from the Privy Council, from the Court of Appeal, and even from the High Court, expressing concern over the question of impartiality by the Essential Service Division led by Mr. Lawrence Achong. So the issue is not just about judgments. It's much deeper than that. It's about the main grouping of people that access the court, which will be the workers, or trade unions and the workers, losing confidence in the court itself.
They think back to the case in 2014 between the Royal Bank of Canada and the Estate Police Association of Trinidad and Tobago. Achong took the association to the Privy Council in an appeal which was dismissed.
You had, for example, the judicial review in terms of when he attempted to impose 2 5-year agreements on the Public Service Association. They had to go and get a judicial review on that. Then you had don't forget, the Tea and Tech matter where he ruled 000, which went to the Court of Appeal. And the Court of Appeal expressed concern around that fundamental issue of fairness and impartiality.
Switching gears. Second Vice President of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, Risa Ramlogan, is complaining that the negligence and mishandling of Chief Human Resource Officer Camilla Sargent as it pertains to the union medical plan. While the plan suffers from inadequate funding and administrative uncertainty, she urged that it is more than just a benefit on paper. She says, after requesting a meeting with the relevant authority, this was the outcome.
This union cannot stand idly by while any official, no matter how senior, attempts to erode the hard-fought protections we have secured over decades. And what did we receive? Silence. Silence from an executive whose very job it is to serve the interests of the employees of this commission. The chief
Trinidad and Tobago. The Vice President calls out the Chief Human Resource Officer on her failure to carry out her respective duties. Listen to this, we'll blog after.
This is a direct result of management's failure to engage in good faith bargaining. What kind of leadership is this? The role of the CHRO is not to dictate. It is to be collaborative, to resolve and to build trust. And in every respect, on industrial relations, on negotiations, on employee well-being, she has failed. She has failed the workers. She has failed TNTech, and she has failed in her duties.
Now, Trinidad and Tobago, if workers complain, if WASA workers complain, if TNTech workers complain, if nurses complain, let me tell you something. They just be complaining for a reason. If WASA workers and TNTech workers go to the union and the union voice a concern for the workers and a protest takes place with union members and workers, which means something is not working in the workers' favor. And in this case, they are calling out of the chief for the Human Resource Department. They are saying she is failing them. And if you are failing your workers, which means something wrong, which means you're not doing what you're supposed to do. With no hesitation, she says, the Board of Commissioners, appointed by previous political regime, continue to disregard the need for renewal of reforms. Listen to this.
Their refusal to demit office is now obstructing the proper functioning and governance of TNTech. They are unaccountable. They are out of step with the realities facing workers, and they are complicit in the failures of this administration, including the CHRO. They have failed to provide oversight, failed to defend workers' rights, and failed to ensure proper accountability at the executive level. Their continued presence is a disservice to the progress this commission desperately needs.
She calls for the entire board to step down. Let me tell you, over the last few weeks, over the last few days, a lot of individuals who are in high-ranking position in boards were refusing to step down. Why are you refusing to step down? Normally in Trinidad, every time a government change, board members change. Back in 2015, when the PNM won election, majority of the state board, some resigned. Well, more or less, they resigned from their position, giving the other party its rightful time to pick who they wanted to serve on a board. Now that the UNC won, a lot of them was given problems to resign. A lot of them. But when they were elected by the PNM, they didn't have a problem. They didn't have a problem. We heard Arthur Lockjack said, not because government change mean you have to redo over the board. Where were he in 2015? Where was he in 2015? Why did he say that in 2015? But nevertheless, Trinidad and Tobago, some of them wanted embarrassment, and I believe they got it. They got what they was looking for. The whole country look at them as power snatchers, grabbing for power. But not many know how to execute power when you have it. Not much know how to do that. Because at the end of the day, people still suffer. When seats change, sometimes we tell ourselves, but you know what, things will get better. Not get better, get worse. Because all the individual wants to do is sit down in a high position, rock back, drink your coffee in the morning, and that's it. You sit down the entire day, you do nothing. You feed the people nothing, you gain. So most of the time that takes place in state board. You understand? Most of the time it takes place in state board. And that is what we see or have been seeing for the last weeks. People failing to resign. You're not good at what you do. Workers complaining, but yet to save yourself the embarrassment, you didn't resign. You didn't do what you're supposed to do. You understand? But you remain there, like the union is calling for this individual to resign and go. You are keeping back a process. So I wonder if it's embarrassment and shame some of them love. This is what I ask myself. You all love to be embarrassed. You all love to be shamed on just for a position. So how your family is looking at you now? Hungry for power? Hungry for position? You're not serving the people complaining, but yet you remaining right there. Why? To be embarrassed for days and weeks and months and years? No, don't do that. Don't let yourself be let down when people are begging you to move. If you're incompetent, you're incompetent. It's that simple. Because when you sit in a position, people expect to see performance. People expect to see performance from you. Always remember that. Sometimes I wonder what has really happened to some of these people. I just really wonder sometimes. Is it power? Is it money? Is it greed? This is what I ask myself. We rather let ourselves be shamed on. That is what we rather do. Than to step aside and let somebody sit down there and carry all that weight. If I end up in a position where people say inside you need to move, you think I go in and fight down for a chair? When everybody looking at me like money hungry and power hungry? You think I gonna continue sitting there? So my friends and family will say, well, boy, give up now, boy. You're so greedy for money. You're power hungry. People complaining about you and yet you ain't moving. I believe that is what some people need in order for them to check themselves. Because reality check, to them, it ain't working. It ain't working at all. So viewers, we're having for a short commercial break, but when we come back, new body armor expected to arrive mid-July for TTPS. More on this when we return.
We'll be right back.
When life throws you a curveball and you need a clear path forward, trust Real Talk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on the roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and a team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the glaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real public concern. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com.
Real Talk Financing is offering you 5% on a fixed deposit for 5 years and over with upfront interest. Contact our central office at 238-6716 or our San Fernando office at 242-9944. You don't want to miss this great opportunity. Invest today and watch your investment work for you.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Real Talk Group of Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saieed, Managing Director of Real Talk Group of Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
Welcome back.
So Trinidad and Tobago, I must remind you, remember we at Real Talk Financing is offering you 5% on a fixed deposit. Now I always say, we have the best interest rate in Trinidad and Tobago coming to fixed deposit. 5% on a fixed deposit with your interest up front, you cannot go wrong. No financial institution in Trinidad and Tobago is offering you interest up front, neither 5%. Neither 5%, viewers. So what you can do, you can get in contact with our office, viewers, set up an appointment, come down, you will get all the information that you need. You go to the bank, get your check, get your cash, come back. Now once you sign on for a 5 years fixed deposit, you get in 5% interest, and within 7 to 14 days, once you sign up all the documents, our office is going to call you, you're going to come down, and you're going to collect your check for your interest up front. No longer waiting 5 and 10 and 15 and 20 years to collect your interest. You're getting it up front once you open a fixed deposit with Real Talk Financing. Remember that Trinidad and Tobago, only we at Real Talk Financing is giving you that. Nobody else. Also, if you're looking for a loan borrower, it's not a problem. We like to lend. We love to lend. We at number 14 Carolina Savannah Road in Chaguanas, 25 Superior Street in San Fernando, and 132 Victoria Village in San Fernando also. So viewers, we have 3 locations. You make the choice which one you want to go in. Money in your hand. Everybody wants money in their hand. Everybody wants to smile. But nevertheless, back to our current affairs. 3,500 new bulletproof vests for the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service are en route to the country with the expectation of its arrival by mid-July. That's according to the Police Commissioner, Junior Benjamin, who said the body armor was purchased last year. He mentioned that the delay in delivery was due to the efforts to secure high-quality equipment with the latest manufacturing dates to ensure officers benefit from the longest possible shelf life. Listen to this.
We want to have maximum length of time with the bulletproof vest. So we wanted those that come in hot off the press so that we can get maximum in terms of length of time and usage of the week of the bulletproof vest.
So now viewers, meanwhile, Vice President of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Social and Welfare Association, Acting ASP Ishmael Pitt, said the new shipment was welcome, but acknowledged that more was needed. He spoke on the delay of the equipment.
Bulletproof vest is standard when you look at international policing. So I must say that we are not totally pleased that it took this length of time, but it is welcome news that the vests are on its way.
Now, viewers, Lady Ho Choi Home and staff neglect patient. Is this true? Is this false? Is it a setup? Homes in Trinidad and Tobago, elderly home, daycares. Who are they running under? Who supervise these homes? Do we have any officers that go to these homes on a daily or weekly basis just to make sure, in good fairness, that the elderly and the disabled are being treated properly? Listen to this. Reports are currently circulating about patients at the Lady Ho Choi Home in Cocorit, Port of Spain, being neglected by staff. The Lady Ho Choi Home is a non-governmental organization facility that deals with persons with intellectual disability. Photos and videos surface online from a whistleblower exposing the alleged abuse. It is also alleged that staff members, supervisors, and managers are aware of the home abuse but are keeping quiet on the matter. The home, that opened in 1961, has been run by Corpus Christi Carmelite Sisters and was investigated in 2022 for physical and sexual abuse. The Children Authority and the TTPS had done investigation into the initial 2020 report. However, no arrest or charges or closure was made. This is a developing story, and as info comes to us viewers, we would let you know. So back in 2020, there was an investigation into this home. We are in 2025. We are in 2025. The home was being investigated for physical and sexual abuse. Staff member on the phone, relaxing, sprawl off. Nothing wrong with taking a call. Nothing wrong with spreading out on a couch. Right? Nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, if you have a duty to perform, make sure you do what you do, because this is what you sign up for. This is what you sign up for. Hey, sleeping on the couch? But nobody, Trinidad and Tobago, but I want you to understand something. Back in 2020, the home was being investigated for sexual abuse. What came out of that? 5 years up the road, no police closure, no arrest, no charges. We're talking about disability. We're talking about individuals don't have proper intellect. What came out of that from 2020 to 2025? It's not government funded, but at the same time, sexual abuse is a crime. It is a crime. So I wonder if the officers that were investigating this matter, if they got transferred, if they got shot in the line of duty, if they're still in the police service, what is the outcome of this? We talk about individuals who have intellectual problems. Imagine someone can't speak, you can't talk, you're disabled, but somebody forcing you to have sex. Imagine that. And officers were investigating that from DTPS. So I would like these officers and them, or the Children Authority in Trinidad and Tobago, to do something about it. Do something about it. This can't, let me tell you something, this can't be going on like this. We talk about disabled children. Nevertheless, Trinidad and Tobago, in other news, in relation to the latest school violence incident at Holy Faith Convent on Tuesday, where a student was assaulted by a group of females, one of the victim attacker challenged the assaulted girl to come out for the money to buy back her torn uniform. Real Talk Studios understand that this was posted in a voice note by the attacker, who calls herself 6 Girls, a name seeking Trinidad and Tobago, I want you to listen to this.
6 girl beat 1 girl. The whole team was by the flicking gas station, getting grease to cross the flicking road when we went into them, they're going in the school. They're still talking grease because they know we can't come in the school compound. When we looked to pull one in the front of them, she ended up getting away and pushed she pushed the flicking red girl. That's how we end up getting to beat up the red girl. Don't feel like some kind of advantageous thing. All the time she talking grease can up as I come down, she hoodie on she flicking head and watching people bad and talk for Chloe. Chloe feel it because she was going to say, hey, sorry, remember we f***ing broke and we a piper. We bust your uniform. Come for your f***ing money to buy it back now.
Trinidad and Tobago, what do you think about that? Caller, good night.
Good night, Mr. Saeed. Great program as usual. And we all must be aware for the last 10 years, nothing good happened in this country. These people that they read from the red dangerous criminal enterprise use their office and position to destroy this country, to bring pain and suffering to the citizens of this country and everybody, including the highest office holder in this country, who we now have a government who want to better the lives of citizens of this country, who want to make this country a better place, who want to carry this country forward, that tourists will want to come here. They are now against everything. Now they are against the removal of the merit point system. You know, citizens of this country, I don't know if the citizens are aware, you know, from 2020 to 2024, it's $362 million in fines they collected, you know, and there are still 64 million outstanding. 64,000 outstanding tickets to be paid, you know. Look at the kind of money they collect, and not one of those, if you analyze it, you will see was for any serious traffic offense on the highway. Take note of that, you know, citizens. So we must object to that and we must reject it. I know, Mr. Saeed, you are very boisterous that the removal of the merit point system have to happen in this country in order to carry this country forward. And those red, dangerous people from that organization, you all keep your mouth shut because you had an opportunity to make this country better. You all did nothing. So, Mr. Saeed, God bless you. You keep up the great work you are doing.
Thank you, my friend. So, viewers, it was reported that although the attacker attends a Couva West Secondary School, they removed their uniform prior to the planned attack. So you're going to tell me now, Gatsby Dolly want to have these individuals coming back to school, unharmed, untouched, no lesson learned. Correct, Gatsby Dolly? Now, in a media release, the Education Minister, Dr. Michael Dowlatt, called for a comprehensive investigation on Tuesday and said the ministry is working closely with school officials and relevant authority to ensure a thorough review and the appropriate action is taken. Although education officials are investigating the matter, there is no word yet on when expulsion will take place. So Trinidad and Tobago, the officials in the school or education officials are not sure when expulsion will take place. Caller, good night.
Night, Saeed.
Go right ahead.
Yes, Saeed, Holy Faith Convent and this school, this is the former junior sex school, both of them would have dismissed at the same time, 2:30. It would take about 10 minutes to walk from that school to reach my convent. And these girls were on spot as soon as convent was dismissed. It means that these girls did not go back to school for the second half day.
Okay.
Or they didn't go to school at all. That is to tell you the quality of the students. But Saeed, the bigger question, 2 years ago Rowley said the education system needs reforming and so on, and did absolutely nothing about it. Can you imagine, Saeed, Trinidad and Tobago, you sitting in a classroom and a teacher talked for 45 minutes and you didn't understand a single thing the teacher said? Could you imagine this for the whole day? Because what we have done, the children in that school have to do the same maths and English and chemistry like the children in Presentation College. So for the whole day, they have all of this pent-up energy. They can't use it in school because they can't follow anything. How could you take the children who passed the SEA with 30% and give them the same thing to do as the children who passed with 90%? The education system needs to be revamped. We probably need to go back to the junior sex system, go have a different curriculum for them, reevaluate them at age 14 and so on. Until we reform the education system, these children with all of that energy will find some way to boost out that energy, and that is how it will happen. We need to correct that, the education system, and a lot will be corrected. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. So Trinidad and Tobago, they do not know when expulsion will take place. Imagine a violent, planned, premeditated attack like this happened, and education officials have no idea on when they are going to expel the students. What? My question is tonight, what does the education ministry expect the victim parents to do now? That is my question. That is my question. So you can tell me, girls went to a school out of uniform, attack another school child, play the video, attack another school child, drag her on the ground, burst down she uniform, batter she in the ground, and all you ain't know when all you go in to suspend or to expel those girls and them. Let me tell you something. If that is a new education board or a new education team that newly comes in, let me tell you something. All you need to drop in a resignation letter and walk back out the door. Take what I'm telling all you. Because if all you are coming out to tell the public, right, that all you don't know when all you're going to expel them children and them, all you need to find our next job. Trust what I am telling you. Although the education officials are investigating the matter, there is no word yet on when expulsion will take place. So here it is. So somebody has to die in the school. Somebody has to get choked with a knife. Somebody had to get beat up with a baton. Somebody's teeth had to knock out. Somebody's eye had to bust. In order for you to step in and get the blasted school system in good governance? No. If that is what we're telling the public, let's start bad riding. It's best we leave Gaspy Dolly riding. That's what I'm telling you. If the education officials know when this happened, here what's going on. Just how all receive all appointment, or get back all resignation letter and walk out one time. Because best way is leave Gatsby Dolly right there. Right there, best way to leave it. Because all they are making no sense. Let me tell you something. In our court, all that is want is evidence. In our court, when a man murder a man, all they had to say that is the man. And police locking him up. Police locking up the man. The police could find an old gun side in the road and say, here we go. This is the gun that killed the man. Look, we have a man. Look, we have a gun. And that is it. And that's it. That's evidence for the court right here. So what more evidence does the ministry needs? What more evidence does the police need? What more evidence does the courthouse need? You tell me Trinidad and Tobago. Now I will tell you something. I will tell you something. You see me cussing Nava and Nava cussing me? Or me cussing my director cussing me? That word exchange. We go vex today. We go vex for the week. But at the end of the day, they didn't harm me. And I didn't harm them. But from the time you had to do that is a problem right there. That is a problem right here. Because it have a backlash to it. So what is TTPS waiting on? What is the ministry waiting on? Gatsby Dolly couldn't do it. So all you're telling me now, all you're telling the public, that all you ain't know. All you don't know. So let me ask you a question. Ministry of Education. I'm just saying something here. Because as a man dog on the ground, you know, I know how the people on the ground they stink, you know. So listen to this. If the parents of the battered school girl decide to take action in their own hands, what's going to happen, you know? What's going to happen? If the battered school girl said, Daddy, this one named Mary, and that one named Joanne, and this one named Rachel, and that one named Cynthia, and that one named Roxo, and this one named Sky High, and this one live in so-and-so place, and that one live in so-and-so place, and that one living in the red house, and this one living on the greenhouse on the corner by the savannah. What's going to happen? Tell me, let somebody call in. 2386716. What you think going to happen? Ask any policeman. Ask any policeman in Trinidad and Tobago if that was their daughter. What do you think going to happen? Let me tell you something. I could close my eye and I could tell you, police go in and raid every one of those houses with a warrant. Me ain't asking you, I'm telling you, if that was a policeman daughter, if that was a minister daughter, if it happened Wednesday, by Friday, all them girls and them out of the school. By the following Monday, some of them in a youth camp. Because trust me, no minister daughter, no minister ain't going to let a girl child go through that. None. So Mr. Dowlett, we understand you are a new minister of education. You was a principal. Let me tell you something. You see that incident? If you and your team And the police and their team ain't deal with that. Let me tell you something. In reality here, we're in a different world. I just want you to understand that. We're in a different world. Ask yourself, Mr. Dowlat, if that was your daughter, what you would I do? Put yourself in the girl parent's shoes. Forget what argument they had. Everybody just argue in the parliament. You just see how they're getting on. Dr. Rowley said, meet me on the pavement, man, and we go handle it. Don't forget. Don't forget, I'm reminding all you. I yet to remind all you. So, Mr. Dowlat, let me see some action in some days coming. In some days. Because I telling all you national television and my program live. Me are inciting no violence, you know. Me had to incite no violence. I could imagine what going through the mother and the father head right now. And that's all I had to say. Caller, good night.
Good night, Mr. Saieed.
Go right ahead.
The problem is this. If they don't want to move the children who beat up the girl, they should put the girl in a different institution and they should continue the education. Because this is total madness. Thank you.
Move. I ain't moving nobody. You're going right and you're finishing your class. You're finishing your school years right there. You know what we're doing? You see them pests on them? You see them pests on them? We're dealing with them. We're dealing with them. Because I'll tell you something. If you want to go to school to pick for fight, not a problem. Not a problem. We go deal with the fight. So the Minister of Education, Michael Dowlat, set an example with this one. Set an example with this one. Because Gasby Dolly do nothing. She ain't do nothing. Gasby Dolly cannot ask what is the UNC plan to deal with bullies because she ain't do nothing. You want to know how much students get suspended in about 2 years' time? Or from 22 to 25? 2. And from 22 to 25, every day, every other day on social media, is seen a school involvement fight. Violent fight. And 2 people get suspended. So let me see what Dowlat will do from now until next week Friday. Today is Thursday. What is the day today? Today is Thursday the 12th. Let me see what Dowlat doing from now until next week Friday. Let me see what kind of result. Caller, good night.
Mr. Good night, my lord. How are you going? Pray me away.
I going good, Prim. How are you going?
Well, right now, me am feeling good and I can't go nowhere. I want to know what the doctor, the prime minister, she's sending home to see people. I'm sick. I want to see a doctor. No, I can't pay to go and see the doctor. She send the doctor and see me now. And that health minister they have is a waste of time they put. He no good. He better check a health minister. He better check a doctor. Well, God bless him, my lord. Take care, brother.
Thank you, my friend. Now, Trent Tobago, listen to this, Former top cop Gary Griffith is of the view that any student who is charged with assaulting another student must be treated with caution for the chance of proper rehabilitation. While he stand by Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Biss's decision to expel violent students from school and report them to the TTPS, he believes there's a process. Listen to Gary.
We have to also understand and accept that these are young persons who are easily influenced. And if it is that you just go down the road, say, for example, the person is charged for committing grievous bodily harm, and you have these persons incarcerated in a facility with seasoned criminals, then the recidivism is not going to improve. Rehabilitation is poor. And then these same individuals are now going to come back out onto the streets sooner or later as a more seasoned, hardened criminal to become a greater burden and a liability to society.
But we have individuals who commit crime, go in prison, spend time, and come back out and committing the same act again. The same act. A car thief will get caught stealing a car. You send him to prison, when he come back out, he going back to thief car again. Where's YTC? Where's YTC? We need to bring back YTC. Youth training camp or youth training center. You see, for students who get caught up with fight and thing, bullies, provoking fight, getting in fight, YTC was a place for them in my days. Let me tell you something. When I go through YTC and I come out, you're straight like a needle, you know. You're straight like a needle. You want to get in our next fight. You want to go back YTC. Anywhere you see bullying take place, you're running. You know why? They were strict with them and they teach them a lesson in YTC. Where's YTC today? It closed down. Many training facility closed down. You know why? Nobody want a teacher. Call her good night.
Yes, sir. Good night.
Go right ahead.
Saieed, I just have one quick point here. Yeah, am I right? You're talking about the school violence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something. You see the initiatives that the Prime Minister planning to proposing to do is the correct thing.
Correct.
Yeah. You have to set an example now. Expel them. And anytime you catch them out of school uniform, is lock up. Plain talk, bad manners. And let me tell you something before I go, right? Gary Griffith talking about rehabilitation, right? And he was the same person before the election talking about treating criminals like terrorists. So when the rehabilitation was then, now he talking rehabilitation, he talking about Kamala. Before the election, the man wanted to kill Kamala, boy. The man was fighting Kamala worse than the PNM. Tell me if I'm lying. And now he coming to talk to them to give them advice. By Gary, you want to go soon. Nobody want to hear you now. Saieed, you enjoy your night, boy.
Thank you, my friend. So, viewers, it makes sense we go for a break, eh? So, here it is. Back to Gary. Under his tenure as subcop, Griffith had put forward several solutions dealing with school violence, including emergency response control in schools. However, Griffith noted that the EMC was shut down by Earl Haywood Christopher and McDonald Jacob. Listen to this.
That emergency response patrol had 100 police vehicles strategically placed throughout the country, 10 in each division, with GPS tracking, staying in their area of responsibility. And we're going to put a panic button in the principal's office of each of these 30 at-risk schools. You press that button, it would have guaranteed a response in less than 5 minutes. Other than that, a police a teacher or principal calling a police station to ask for a response and then hearing the police station say they don't have vehicles, that is what you're going to get. That is what we're getting now.
Extreme circumstances calls for extreme measures. And the former top cop was clear that the proposed suggestion of undercover officers in school would have had result. Gary.
What we were doing was looking at the 30 most at-risk schools with the highest degree of such criminal activity, be it fights, be it drug use, be it gang recruitment, and have 30 undercover officers be placed in the schools, whether it be plumbers, be it security guards, whatever, without anyone, not even the teachers knowing. Only the principal would have known. The students would not have known. And that person will be able to monitor, record, get information, get intelligence, and from there, be able to pinpoint the perpetrators, to see who it is that is recruiting these gangs, who it is that is delivering drugs, who it is that is involved in violent criminal activity with fights in schools.
Trinidad and Tobago, let's see what the Ministry of Education is going to do from now until next Thursday. Today's Thursday the 12th. Let's see what is going to happen from this Thursday to next Thursday. Because this is the first violent. This is not just violent, you know. This is extremely violent. This is the first fight that they are going to deal with. The first one on the agenda from the former education, Gasby Dolly, there's already a document, it is already passed that once you commit a fight or a bullying in school, you shall be expelled. 2 students were expelled from 2022 to 2025. 2. So I want to see what this new ministry wants in order to deal with this violent crime that took place. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Switching gears. A jobless hotline created by the People's National Movement is facing backlash, public backlash. Supporters of the United National Congress have called on people to use the same hotline to report the jobless suffered under the PNM regime, including some 5,000 former Petrotrin workers. On its social media page, the PNM posted, "When UNC won, did you lose your job? If you think you have been politically victimized, WhatsApp or text the hotline at 868-318-2848. So I wonder why they didn't bring out this hotline when they shut down Petrotrin or the refinery. Why didn't they bring out this hotline? One Real Talk Studios sent a message to the number. The automatic response was sent. It said, "You've contacted the PNM's job loss hotline. This info is for statistical use only. No names will be published. Did you work for the government and lost or lose your job after April 28, 2025? That's the question. The response continued to say, "Thank you for participating. We're sorry for your loss. If you'd like to speak with a counselor or legal advisor, please let us know." Imagine that, eh? Imagine that. On Monday, opposition leader Penelope Beckles announced that establishment of a hotline. The opposition was told that the people were being fired from several ministries, and therefore it had established a hotline for people to call. So I wonder, when government change, Kamala UNC administration was there from 2010 to 2015. When the PNM administration won in 2015, how much job loss did it had? How much? Why didn't they establish a hotline back then when they won? Because state boards had to change. People were sent home. Coming up the road now, Petrotrin was shut down. Why Penelope didn't tell Faris or didn't tell Stewart or didn't tell Rowley, "Hey, let's create a hotline to see how many people were fired from boards and office and other offices throughout Trinidad and Tobago." Why didn't they set up a hotline? I tell you, I fear right or wrong, you know. And I'm being biased and I fear right or wrong. That's the difference with me. I ain't dependent on either party. So Trinidad and Tobago. More than 24 hours after a meeting with Venezuelan Ambassador Alvaro Sanchez, Trinidad and Tobago is still awaiting an official response from the Venezuelan authority regarding the identity of a perpetrated national reported in their country or in their custody. Last Wednesday, Venezuelan Justice Minister Cabello alleged that a Trinidadian and Tobago national was involved in a terrorist activity. Amidst destabilizing Venezuela on June 2nd. You gonna tell me 5 men go to Venezuela to destabilize Venezuela? We have 1.4 million people in Trinidad here. How many millions of people you think Venezuela have? Ask yourself that. We normally hear guns coming from Venezuela to Trinidad. We normally hear that. We normally hear cocaine coming from the southwestern peninsula. We hear human trafficking from the western peninsula. We have marijuana from the western peninsula. Now we hear about gun now from Trinidad going to Venezuela now. First time in, well, in 9 years and since PNM was in power, first time I'm hearing this. What about you all? But nevertheless, however, Foreign Affairs Minister Sean Sobers stated he intends to send a third diplomatic note to the Venezuelan embassy. Sobers said he was still in the process of obtaining the requested information. Listen to this.
If there is any veracity to it, we will be provided with the particulars. But at this juncture, we've not been provided with anything.
Now, Trinidad and Tobago, listen to this. Meanwhile, international relations specialist Amal Henry believes TNT's stance is being shaped by U.S. foreign policy. First thing, I want you to understand something. I want you to understand something clearly. Clearly. Venezuela is a sanctioned country by the United States. Understand that. Our former Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, still did business with a country and a president that was sanctioned by the US. I want all to understand that as clear as daylight. And the saying goes like this. Any country that does business from a sanctioned country, that country could also be sanctioned by the same country that sanctioned the country they do business with. So we got away by the skin of our teeth of being sanctioned by the US because of the former administration. So if all I didn't know that, all I look it up. Look it up. Nevertheless, Trinidad and Tobago. Listen to this voice.
I believe that in the short period of this current administration, you've seen over 13 engagement by the U.S. Embassy with many ministry officials, and maybe Caracas sees this a little too close for comfort. Or I think there are too many strong winds that are blowing in our Western Hemisphere that is causing this administration to take a certain posture. We have to be very careful from a pragmatic stance that this is not just an external threat posture of using the term use deadly force on the seas, but we have Venezuelans who live amongst us, who are part of our community legally or not. And it would not be wise for us to create or add to that tension, because that tension can occur domestically for us.
Now, viewers, we have had good relation with Venezuela. When Venezuela had their crisis, we had a lot of Venezuelans in Trinidad. We welcomed them in Trinidad because of humanitarian aid. Because if something were to happen to us, we would run to some country too. But let's hope that they keep it less minimal so we can continue with wherever it is trade relation. Viewers, it is that time I must say good night until we meet again. This is Saieed.